Pleasant morning to all my dear children. How are you all? I hope all are safe and sound. I welcome you all for today's class in History and Civics, Chapter 9, The Mughal Empire, Part 2. Okay children, so let's get started. In our previous class, we saw that Mughal Empire was established by Zakiruddin Muhammad Babur. The Mughals are so called because of their Mongol ancestry. Yes or no? Babur was the descendant of Mongol ruler, that is Genghis Khan from his mother's side and the descendant of Timur on his father's side. The Mughal dynasty continued to rule for nearly 2.5 centuries, with the only break being the rule of Sher Suri. Okay children, in today's class, let us see about the conquest of India. Okay, the following were the reasons that forced Babur to invade India. Referring to capture. Okay, Babur was outset from his ancestral kingdom. That means he was sent out from his ancestral kingdom of Samarkand and had no other options but to move towards India, and that is the reason why he had to move towards India, because he was sent out from his ancestral kingdom of Samarkand. Okay, then Babur was tempted by the fabulous wealth of India. Okay, fabulous wealth means when he saw the wealth of India, he was tempted. He wanted to invade India and capture this wealth. Alright, the territories under Babur control, that is Badakhshan, Kandahar and Kabul, did not yield sufficient income to maintain his army. That means this kingdom which was under this territory which was under Babur's control, they didn't give much or sufficient income to maintain his army. Whose army? Babur's army. Alright, that is Badakhshan, Kandahar and Kabul, these territories. Okay, then Babur feared attack on Kabul by the Uzbeks and considered India to be a safe place of refuge. That means Babur feared attack on Kabul. That means he was fearing to attack on Kabul by the Uzbek. The Uzbeks may attack, and that is why he considered India to be the safe place of refuge. Refuge means, no. Once he left India and he went to Kabul, and from Kabul again he came to India. That means he became a refuge and a suitable base to launch operation. And India was a suitable place to launch operation against whom? Against Uzbeks. Okay children. So on the eve of Babur's invention of India, there was no powerful central authority. That means on that evening when Babur wanted to invade India, there was no more powerful central authority. That means no more at that time, there were no more powerful central authority in India, and it was divided into a number of small states. India was divided into many small states. These states were always at war with one another. Now these small states which was divided, they was always having a war with one another. They were fighting with one another. Ibrahim Lodi, the ruler of Delhi, wanted to establish a large empire. Okay, so Ibrahim Lodi, the ruler of Delhi, he was a ruler of Delhi, and he wanted to establish a large empire. He wanted to capture the large empire, but this was resented by the Afghan chiefs. Okay, but that was not possible because of the Afghan chiefs and the Rajputs. Okay, so these Afghan chiefs and Rajputs are also wanted to have a war with this Delhi Sultan. The rulers of Punjab and Bihar also revolted against him. Okay, against whom? Against Ibrahim Lodi. So you see, each small states or each states, they started having war on one another. All right, and there was no unity among them. Daulat Khan Lodi, the governor of Punjab. Okay, so that time Daulat Khan Lodi was a governor of Punjab, and Alam Khan, an uncle of Ibrahim Lodi. So this Alam Khan was an uncle of Ibrahim Lodi. What did they do? Daulat Khan Lodi and Ibrahim Lodi, they invited Babur to invade India. Okay, what did they do? They invited Babur to invade India and to overthrow Ibrahim Lodi. That means to invade India and to end the rule of Ibrahim Lodi. So you can see here there was a disunity among the kings. All right. Then Babur saw in this invitation an opportunity. So when they Daulat Khan Lodi and the other ruler, the uncle, okay, Alam Khan, when he gave the invitation to Babur, Babur saw in this invitation an opportunity to conquer India. So Babur got an opportunity to conquer India and crossed the Indus and occupied the northwestern part of Punjab in 1524. All right. So the next year, all right, Daulat Khan Lodi turned against Babur. Now Daulat Khan only had invited Babur, but the next year what happened? He he came against Babur. Who became against Babur? Daulat Khan Lodi. Babur defeated him. Whom? Daulat Khan Lodi, and marched. That means he moved towards Delhi. All right, children. A battle between him, that is Babur, and Ibrahim Lodi, the ruler of the Delhi, became inevitable. That means there was a war between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur. They came face to face at the first battle of Panipat, that is the first battle of Panipat in the year 1526, which was fought between Babur and Ibrahim Lodi. Alright, Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi and followed up his victory by occupying Delhi and Agra and laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire with its capital at Agra. That means in this battle of Panipat, the first battle of Panipat in 1526, where Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi, and what did he do? He got victory in that battle and he occupied Delhi and Agra and laid the foundation, and from there the foundation of Mughal Empire with its capital at Delhi. At Agra. All right, children. Now, Babur defeated the Rajput Confederacy led by the Rana Sangha of Chittor at the Battle of Kanwa in 1527. Okay, now there was Babur defeated the Rajputs. All right, in the Battle of Kanwa, that is, he defeated Rana Sangha of Chittor in 1527. All right, the victory broke the power of the Rajput. All right, now when Babur got victory in this Battle of Kanwa, the what happened? The power of the Rajputs decreased. All right, vanished. Babur next turned to the Afghan chief. Now he has defeated Ibrahim Lodi, he have defeated Rajput. Now he is moving towards the Afghan chiefs of Bengal and Bihar and defeated them at the Battle of Ghagra. Okay, so remember your children, Babur defeated the Rajputs, that is Rana Sangha, in the Battle of Kanwa in 1527, and Babur defeated the Afghan chiefs of Bengal and Bihar and in the Battle of Ghagra near Patna in 1529. Alright, children, remember this. By 1530, Babur's empire in India extended from Punjab to the frontier of Bengal. Okay, from Punjab to the frontier of Bengal, and from the Himalayas to Gwalior. That means he had extended his territory. He became more powerful. You can see the map over here, right? Alright. So Babur Empire in India extended from Punjab to the frontier of Bengal and from the Himalayas to the Gwalior. That means his territory was extended, Babur's, and he became more powerful and he started defeating the other kings. Alright. Then Babur was a born leader, a brave military general, and a great scholar. Okay, so he was a great scholar. He was master of both the Persian and the Turkish language. His autobiography, Baburi or Baburnama, written in Turkish, is one of the best autobiographies. Children, this Babar Nama or Tuziki Baburi is an invaluable source of information. Okay, very valuable on that period. Babar was an because it gave the information, the autobiography of Babar. Babar was a musician, calligraphist, theologian, and a poet. All right, and he loved nature and laid many gardens in different part of his empire. Babar died in the year 1530 and was buried in a garden in Kabul because he loved plants, and that is why he was buried in the garden, children. So here are the great Mughals. When did they rule, children? Okay, after whom they were ruling. Okay, Zakiruddin Muhammad Babur. Okay, he was the first great Mughal ruler from 1526 to 1513. After him, Nasiruddin Muhammad Humayun. Okay, he came in the year 1530 to 1540 and 1555 to 1556. He ruled. All right, and after him, Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar, that is from 1556 to 1605 he ruled. All right, and then after him Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir in the year 1605 to 1627. After him Shishabuddin Muhammad Shah Jahan in the year 1627 to 1658. After that king, the next Mughal ruler was Muhyiddin Muhammad Aurangzeb in the year 1658 to 1707. Children, now let us see the reasons for Babur's victory. Okay, the main factor which led to the conquest of India by Babur were the following. Babur was a better military general and a diplomatic than Ibrahim Lodi. All right, on one of the biggest cause of Babur's victory was his impressive personality. Okay, Babur had a very impressive personality, and he did not lose heart even in most critical time. That means whenever he is to not gain any victory, or whenever he is to lose the war, he never loses his heart. Okay, he said, okay, let's capture the next time. He had the capacity to infuse spirit in the dead bodies. That means not making alive the dead bodies. Okay, whenever a person is not lively, all right, he is not having the spirit. Okay, with his lively speech, he is to give nice lively speech, which is to infuse the spirit. Even who is dull, who is not energetic, he was fully conversant with all the tactics of war. That means all the tricks of war. Babur introduced a new mode of warfare in India, that is, a skilled combination of artillery and cavalry. Though the use of gunpowder was known in India, but its use became common from the time of Babur. Alright, though the use of gunpowder was known in India, but its use became common, alright, from the time of Babur. Alright, a skilled combination of artillery and cavalry, that is the skill which is used for the war, children. Alright, he employed two Ottoman master gunner, that is Ustad Ali and Mustafa, in his army. Alright, so these two Ottoman master gunner, they were in Babur's army. And what was their name? Ustad Ali and Mustafa. Alright, then Babur's army was numerically inferior to that of Ibrahim Lodi. That means they were Babur's army were more strong than the Ibrahim Lodi, but he strengthened his position by using. Now Babur is to strengthen his position by using the technique and diplomacy. He rested one wing of his army in the city of Panipat, alright, which had a large number of houses. He placed the other behind the ditch filled with branches of trees, and thus protected his army from the enemy. So, this was the technology or technique which Babur was using in his army, alright, during his warfare. Babur made use of Tulukma strategy of war. All right. So Tulungma's strategy of war, in which he put together a large number of carts. Carts means, no children, that tied together with rope to act as a defending wall. Okay. So he put together the number of carts and tied together with rope to act as a defending wall. And between two carts, he got erected temporarily. Is to get inside between two carts temporarily, and fortification on which soldier could rest their gun and fire. So he used to fire there. Ibrahim Lodi had no idea on this of this kind of warfare. All right. Ibrahim Lodi made use of elephants in the warfare. However, compared to this elephant, horses of Mughal cavalry were more active. All right. Though, because more than this elephant and horses, the Mughal cavalry were more active. Often elephant wounded in the battle, they used to get wounded, used to run back trampling their own army men. Now, for example, when this Ibrahim Lodi armies were sitting on the elephant back and they were fighting. Now, once when this elephant was to get wounded, they used to get trampling, and they used to their own army men under their feet. That means it's to, because of wounded elephant, what they used to do, they do not know whether it is an Ibrahim Lodi's army or whether it is Babur's army. They used to trample the own army men under the feet because of the wound of the elephant. Babar army was better disciplined than Ibrahim Lodi army. All right, so they were well disciplined. His soldiers knew when to charge and when to retreat. That means the Barbar soldiers know when to charge and when to retreat, not to charge. On the other hand, Ibrahim Lodi's soldier moved more or less like a crowd, and a little charge from the enemy side was enough to cause confusion among them. Okay, then Barbar is to cause confusion among them. Their vast number were more a source of weakness. Okay, they were they were huge in number, which was a source of weakness than the source of strength for Ibrahim Lodi. Disunity among the Indian ruler was another cause that led to the Ibrahim Lodi defeat. Okay, Ibrahim Lodi's relatives, near ones. Okay, there was disunity which caused to the defeat of Ibrahim Lodi. All right, they could not visualize any eventually beyond the border of their own kingdoms. Okay, they were not able to extend their kingdom and could not stand united to face a threat of India from outside. All right, Babur defeated them and defeated them one by one, captured their kingdom and became their overlord. Okay, he started capturing one by one Babur and he became the overlord. That means he became the powerful king, Mughal Empire. The Afghans were a house divided among themselves. Okay, so the Afghans' houses were divided among themselves. Sultan Ibrahim's treatment towards his Amir was most discourteous and insulting. Okay, it was most discourteous means not good, and insulting. The proud Afghan nobles, who were highly respected by Ibrahim's father and grandfather, were made to stand in his darbar in humble posture. They were made to stand in a humble posture. All right. He also declared that kingship knew no kingship. Hence, the Amir went against him. Okay. Ibrahim Lodi was an insufficient general who could either properly organize his force nor plan the battle well. Okay. Babur himself remarked, that means he said, Ibrahim was an inexperienced young man, careless in his movement, who moved without order, halted or retired without plan, and engaged in the battle without foresight. He didn't have any foresight. It was not difficult for a brilliant general like Babur to defeat such an inefficient rival. Alright, children. With this, we come to an end of this session for today, children. The remaining part will be continued. Until then, thank you. Stay safe. Bye bye.